The Lutz family really brings attention to the house because, he claimed the demon possession. The rumor went around on the island, and rumor went around all over about it being possessed, and that's when they started talking about all these Native American things and this John Ketchum guy. But the Lutz family comes in there. They move in 1975, and they report all kinds of things. With long story short on that, they just rush out of the house 28 days later. They flee in the middle of the night, never come back and try to sell the house. What they were saying in this house was that all kinds of things. They first thing when they moved in, they say that when they moved in the house, they brought a preacher over because they heard about what happened in the house and they wanted to get all these, bad energy out. So they called the preacher over. Preacher comes over, says stuff like the house was super cold, especially in the sewing room. They keep referencing the sewing room. He says that he heard a voice scream at him, "Get out." He was the only one in the house doing it. He also says that he was slapped in the face, doesn't know by who or where, freaks out about it, mentions it to the family. Needless to say, they keep trying to live in the household. They starts off hearing scraping, they hear banging, they hear it's cold in rooms that shouldn't be cold. They start to say the family's personality starts to change. Look, this is all, you could be skeptical about this, of course, right? I am when I hear some of this stuff as well. They would say that in that sewing room that the preacher mentioned, it would just be insane amounts of flies, like, freaky, like infestation of flies. At one point, I think the mom says she finds like a room behind the shelving of like a red room, a little small red room that was hidden. And they think that there was some kind of devil worshiping going on in there at some point. Their dog would not come near the room, would growl. They all say that at 3:15 a.m. they would spring up in the middle of the night every night, all of them. They couldn't figure out why. It turns out the Feo murders happened at 3:15 a.m. So all this stuff is there, right? So they rush out of the house. They leave the house. They don't ever come back. The issue becomes, where it becomes legal, right, is at some point, I'm not sure how many families later, the family...
I think it was the next one.
Maybe it was the next one. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I missed here. Oh, they would see eyes. This is the Lutz family. They would see eyes looking in from the outside in, and sometimes when they were coming home, they would see eyes looking out. All kinds of stuff. It brought the attention of the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, which some people would recognize that name. Most people would. That's the people behind the Conjuring stories. These were, the Ed Warren was they called him a demonologist. The church recognized him, right? Is that what it was? Demonologist?
I don't know what church it was.
Well, it was the Catholic Church. Allegedly, this is what it says on their stuff.